Hi, and welcome back, 30-Day Challengers. As you know, my name is Dr. Alexia Peak, and I'm the chiropractor here at Peak Wellness Center. And what I'm going to be talking to you about today is why we're fat. So just go into your daily life. We're just going to start from the very beginning. You wake up, and you're probably in brand new clean sheets, if you're like me, which have been washed in incredibly toxic laundry detergent just a couple days prior. You get up, you walk across the floor into your bathroom, you turn on the faucet, and then you start running a nice hot shower. Now, did you know that our water system is actually part of the form of purifying the water is by using aluminum hydrate? And with that, if you didn't know, aluminum is incredibly toxic to the human body and even more toxic to just our nerves to begin with. So it causes all sorts of problems. It's probably a more common problem than even mercury now because that problem has been taken care of. And so you spend probably 20 minutes, typical woman, in that shower, having that hot water bursting across your skin, opening up your pores, and then you go to wash your hair. Now, if you look on the back of your shampoo bottle, you'll probably see a very, very common ingredient. So it's called sodium lauryl sulfate. Hugely toxic, also a known neurotoxin. Just try to switch out your shampoo and conditioner. Conditioners are usually a little bit more safe, so if you just really, really love the smell of your herbal essence or Biolage or something like that, those are actually a little bit more safe than your shampoos. We get out of the shower, we dry off in the same towel, or in the towel that was probably washed in the same laundry detergent as our sheets were, and then we start to put lotion on. Now, again, if you look at those, a large amount of our commercial lotions have an ingredient called glycerin. Even a lot of the organic products tend to have that as well. It is a natural ingredient. It is known to come from vegetables and not be an animal product, which is great. However, what it does is it coats your skin, and so then your skin isn't allowed to breathe as well. Another common thing that you see is mineral oil. And same kind of thing, it's just a lot more toxic than what glycerin is, but both of these ingredients are something that you want to stay away from. If I were to take a saltine cracker that you put in your soup every winter and put it in a little bit of mineral oil and take another saltine cracker and put it in water, you know what's going to happen to the one in water, right? It breaks down and it crumbles and it pretty much disintegrates and dissolves into the water. Well, the saltine cracker that I put into the mineral oil ends up hardening where I can't even break it. It's pretty incredible. And then lastly, we go to brush our teeth, correct? Now, if you look at your Crest or any other commercial brand, you're probably going to see the ingredient fluoride. Very, very toxic. I don't know about you, but I really don't want this product that close to my brain. It is incredibly toxic. It's been known to cause agitation, increased PMS symptoms. Horrible for you. Again, another thing that we like to do is put on deodorant. Again, I know that nobody wants to be offensive. Nobody wants to walk into the office and be the smelly kid or have those ugly sweat marks underneath their shirts. That being said, if you look at your Degree, your Secret, any other typical commercial stuff that you can get at King Soopers, Walmart, anywhere, one of the main ingredients, again, is aluminum. Now remember, we just talked about that coming out of our faucets. Now, aluminum, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but in small quantities, you're layering that underneath your armpit, and it's also known to be a known neurotoxin. Now, as you're going to see coming up this week, or as you've seen this week, we talked about sweating and the importance of that. Now, why is it important to sweat? It's important to sweat because sweat is a toxin. So the reason why we have you sit in a sauna is to get rid of those toxins. Now, if you're layered on with deodorant underneath your armpits, that one area of your body isn't allowed to sweat and secrete all of those toxic substances that your body is creating. And if you look at the amount of breast cancer, especially in the United States, it's usually in the corresponding quadrant of the armpit. And the reason why is because all of that sweat is allowed to conjugate in that area and isn't being released. Those breast cells are then exposed to those toxins and aren't allowed to reproduce and thrive the way the other cells are. And that's why you're seeing so much breast cancer in the corresponding quadrant, if you will. Okay, so now all that being said, is there hope? Of course, I wouldn't tell you all this unless I offered a solution, correct? So just to start off, switching to something that is a more organic form, it's completely accessible nowadays. It's so much easier than what it used to be. You can go to the King Soopers and get the 7th generation. You can go to Sprouts, they have other things, other options there. And all you have to do is look at your labels. And please feel free to call or email Gabby or I, and we'll be happy to educate you or help you out with some of the ingredient things. There's several apps on your phone now that allow you to look up ingredients and see what's available and what's good and what the contraindications are. So just starting off with that, just switching your laundry detergent is a great thing. Now as we go to the shower, I understand that we don't have much choice as to where our water source comes from, how it's treated. All that being said, I have not been able to find an aluminum or chlorine filter here in Greeley. And that's okay, because at the Whole Foods in Fort Collins, I have been able to find one with both. It's very easily installed. I've done it in my own apartment, so you don't even have to be a homeowner. And it's quick, it's painless. I think it's like in the $40 to $50 range, and then I'm not being exposed to all of these known carcinogens. For soaps in your shower, as long as it doesn't have a fragrance in it, then you're pretty safe there. I mean, even things like Dove and Crest and some of those are pretty much a better bet than what you've been using if you're using like a loofah and the liquid body wash. It's also a good idea to shop at Sprouts, Natural Grocers, Whole Foods, some of those places, or even in the natural section in King Soopers. It's a much better place. And again, just try to steer away from things like fragrance, glycerin. Sodium lauryl sulfate is the big one with this one. Moving on to toothpaste, it's a great idea to just avoid getting something with fluoride in it. Now this is not something that you're going to find at Walmart or King Soopers, unfortunately. You do have to go to Sprouts, Natural Grocers, Whole Foods, something like that. And again, the big thing here is to stay away from fluoride, sodium lauryl sulfate. Most of these toothpaste now are not white and very minty, so it's going to be an adjustment to you. So just make sure to go check them out, buy a couple so that you know what you like. Same thing with deodorant. You're going to have to go through probably several different kinds before you find one that works for you. Unfortunately, it's just one thing, but this is the perfect time of year. It's still cold outside. You're not going to be offensive. If nothing else, go towards something that is just a deodorant and not an antiperspirant. You'll be far better off if you're at least sweating and not being offensive odor-wise versus still holding all that sweat inside of your body. Now I know what most of your motivations were for starting the 30-day challenge, and it was probably to lose weight because you're starting this right at the beginning of 2014. Congratulations, welcome aboard to the rest of the world. Now we're going to discuss why we are fat, or why you can't get rid of those last few pounds and what you can do about it. So when you go into my kitchen and you have a normal meal, typically full of veggies, fruits, even a lot of red meat, chicken, things that maybe aren't perfect for you but are still good for you and still usable by the body, including yogurt. It's not, the dairy industry has done a great job of telling us that dairy is good for us. It's a lie, but they've done a great job of selling that to us. So you go into my kitchen, you have lunch with me. It's a typical meal, okay? We have some chicken, we have some lettuce, tomato, and you know what, I'm feeling like cheating today, so we're going to have some ice cream, okay? So what this is a fat cell. In everybody's body, we have thousands of them, and this is what the body uses to store energy. It's a great thing. When we were cavemen, this was hard to come by, and so the body is designed to hold on to any additional energy that it can. So as we are storing all of these great things that we're putting into our body, the outside of this cell puts a little marker on the outside of it. And all these good yummy things, okay? Next, let's say this ice cream that I had some chocolate chips in it. Say it was the strawberry chocolate chip kind. I don't even know if that is a kind, but strawberry chocolate chip, okay? And it doesn't have real strawberries in it. It has a lot of artificial coloring. Red dye 40, huge misculprit in a lot of those candy canes that we probably consumed over Christmas. It's got some artificial flavorings. Okay, And what those artificial sweeteners, colorings, things like that do, they're not usable to our bodies. They're actually horrible for our bodies because they get put into these fat cells, and then what does this fat cell do? It creates a weird looking marker. Okay? And then over time, as we start to create more and more of these, eventually you end up with cells that look like this. Full of a combination of them. And then of course, some weird markers and some normal markers. Okay? Now here's us. This is when we're teenagers. Remember when we used to have all that energy and we could move around and we could eat whatever we want and not get fat? This is us, and we have a combination of all of these good, bad, and ugly types of proteins. Now these proteins that are going in here end up making our cells. Interesting thought. So as time goes on, we keep putting more and more of these types of cells in, more and more of these types of cells into our bodies, and eventually what happens? We put on the freshman 15, we never really fully take it off, and now we have all of these cells in our bodies, toxins and otherwise, and the body is trying to dilute all of those toxins that we've put in. And so the easiest way to do that is to make more cells. And these cells pack on pounds, making us fat and miserable and aggravated. So then January of 2011, 2012, 2013 comes along, and we go over here and we cut calories and we start exercising, we keep wearing deodorant, we keep eating the same junk, we keep drinking, we're drinking Diet Coke instead of regular Coke, thinking that it's better for us, and we're just as toxic as what we were. Probably more so, because we're pouring in more of that low fat, no crap too, stuff into our body, creating more and more toxicity, and so then we end up right back here where we started, and it's even harder to lose it the next time.
Hi, remember me? I'm Gabby, the Holistic Health Practitioner here at Peak Wellness Center. I'm going to be going over your products that you're going to be taking over the next 30 days. The first one is your protein shake. This one has a ton of vitamins and minerals, and that's why I like it. It's part of building you up, because you need to build up and also cleanse. This one you'll be taking once a day, 2 scoops. You can do 1 scoop in the morning, 1 scoop at night if you need to, or in the afternoon. For some people, the 2 scoops is too much. Your next product is the liver cleanse. Part of cleansing is the major organ we want to cleanse is the liver, because that is the organ that takes the biggest burden. There's 30 packets, so you'll be taking 1 packet a day, and there's 6 pills that you have to take with this one. Okay, so the next product you're going to be taking is for the colon. As you know, the colon is our biggest detoxification organ. It's the one that gets rid of all the toxins. So you don't want to be getting detoxifying and then the toxins just store in the body. Alright, so you're going to be taking 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. If for some reason you start getting diarrhea, then you cut down to 1. No diarrhea, just regular bowel movements is what we're looking for here. After the cleanse, if you have an issue with constipation, I would suggest you do the fiber mint, because it is fiber, of course, which we all need, and it's not habit forming like the intestinal cleanse is. Alright, so you'll get all your stuff in your bag, plus you get an information packet, make sure you look it over, and you'll also get a little keychain where you can keep your supplements in. So I hope you're excited, and we'll see you next week.